Hey guys, I'm super excited. Today we will see how Gianne from San Francisco grew her Nepenthes on her windowsill. You may know her as Inglorious Bettas on YouTube or Nepenthes Diary on Instagram. Clearly not a newbie, but we will see with her how she do it. So coming up. So first, thank you to show us your setup, your Nepenthes. Please introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Hi, my name is Gianne. I'm in San Francisco, California, and sorry. And I have an Instagram called Nepenthes Diary, which kind of showcases all of my plants, and I also that links to my blog, nepenthesdiary.com, and there I have species and hybrids cultivation profiles for each of the different Nepenthes that I have. I also have a few other carnivorous plants.
I will show your the Instagram.
Yeah, so I try and post every day. I take lots of pictures of my plants, and then I link to their page in my Nepenthes Diary blog. And I just love learning about the plants. Some of the plants have amazing history. Some of them are Victorian hybrids. Some of them are brand new to cultivation, and it's super fun to learn about all of the different nuances between the different species and hybrids. So,
sorry, you have a lot of stuff, so that's really nice.
It's been a fun project. It's been keeping me sane during this crazy time that I'm living in. It's been very strange to have so much time at home. And so having this blog has really helped with that. It's been really fun to focus on my hobby.
And on your website, we see your YouTube channel, which is mainly talking about betta fish, but you also have a playlist for Nepenthes on your windowsill and on growing them in-house, I mean.
Yeah,
so that's really great. I invite everyone to check. And here is all the social media. So again, really happy to have you on board. And and yes, so please, can you talk about your setup? What temperature, for example?
So my big Nepenthes are growing in a south-facing windowsill, and it faces directly south, and there's nothing blocking it. So all the sun is coming through. It gets really, really hot sometimes. I have a sensor push. What is it? It just measures temperature and humidity. And the hottest it can get is 100 degrees. Sometimes it peaks up to 95 or 100 degrees when it's sunny, but it's very, very brief. Most of the time it's around 80 degrees, like right next to the windowsill. And then our living room gets really, really hot when it's that sunny. And then at night, it drops down to 65 or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I should say it's all in Fahrenheit.
Sure,
I'm sorry.
I will do the conversion on screen later.
I don't know what it is in Celsius. Anyway, and then the humidity, it varies quite a bit. So during the day, when it's like 80 to 100 degrees, it can drop down as low as 25% humidity. It gets really low. Yeah, it's between 25 and 40% humidity during the day. But at night, it stays around 50 to 60% humidity. And I think part of that is because I live literally a block away from the Pacific Ocean, and it's very humid at night when it's nice and cool. I've also experimented with misting and not misting. I know that's a huge debate.
Yeah, I have a video about that tomorrow, actually.
Oh, really?
It's going to be Monday, but this video will be later, so I will put a link there.
Perfect, yeah.
But yes, so what do you think about that? Spraying or not? That is the question.
It's a hard question. So I need to collect more evidence, basically. All of my experience is a little bit anecdotal. Like I haven't sat down and written out like how many pictures were formed or how quickly they form with and without humidity. But I will say that based on the sensor push, when I mist them really heavily at night, it stays about 10% higher in humidity, but only at night. And it'll stay consistently about 10% higher all night until the sun comes up. So it'll stay closer to like 65% if I mist. If I don't mist at night, it stays around 50% humidity. So it's a small difference. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it makes a difference. It seems like there are more pictures for me, but I don't know. But I mist because I like misting at night. It just gives me a chance to look over all of the plants and kind of put them to bed, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
I'm the same. But and it's counterintuitive because if you spray at night where it's already humid, mm-hmm. I would think to spray during the day when it's mm-hmm. really low. But as you still have picture without spraying the day, I mean, probably not useful. No.
I don't know. Like, so when I sprayed during the day mm-hmm. and I looked at the humidity fluctuation using the sensor push, it was a very, very brief effect. Like it would jump up and go back. Yeah. But the good thing is that temperature drops a lot. So I do spray very, very lightly. If it's like 100 degrees, super hot and I'm home, I will spray just a little bit just to bring the temperature down. But I have to be really, really careful because if there are any water droplets on the leaves, and you're going to see it on a couple of the plants, it acts like a prism and it concentrates the sunlight and it burns them. So I have to be, in my particular situation, the plants get a ton of direct sunlight. So I have to be really careful when I spray during the day or mist during the day.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to see a few that were... Yeah.
Let's see that then.
So shall we Oh, I forgot to say, I also have humidity trays, and we're going to see that when I go over to the windowsill. And putting in those humidity trays did have a huge effect on pitcher longevity. Before I had the humidity trays, the pitchers would last maybe a month, but now they persist for months and months. So, which is interesting because there wasn't a big difference in the sensor push gauge. I don't know if it's because the local humidity is a lot higher, but and that's not getting sensed by the sensor push, but the humidity trays make a huge difference in pitcher longevity.
Okay. Nice advice.
Yeah. So, and it's easy and simple and looks nice. So.
Okay. Oh, clearly you're in a warm place. I see a pantry, this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Really not where I live.
It's a Mediterranean climate, kind of in here in San Francisco, so it's super nice all year. No snow. We never had snow here, right next to the ocean. But it does. I think the major change in the seasons is that the light changes quite a bit. So in the winter, we only get 8 hours of good light. And then in the summer, obviously, it's a lot more. So, but that's the major.
And here it's 9 something on your place, 9 a.m., right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is nice morning light, kind of gentle. Got a lot of clouds today, so we kind of lucked out. Normally, there's a bunch of direct sunlight coming in before 10 a.m. So let's see, where shall we start? I have this big table here, and this is where a lot of my largest Nepenthes are. Okay. So in this,
nice.
One thing I noticed is all of the Nepenthes have either Maxima or ventricosa except for one. Oh. Isn't that crazy? So every single Nepenthes is a variant of Maxima or ventricosa, except for this one. So this one is Nepenthe Sanguinea. And I just really love this one. This is the only one that doesn't have maxima or ventricosa. And there are a ton of pictures on this plant. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pictures.
And you said they last long, right?
Long time, yeah. So this one lasts for months and months. And it's just, a lot of people are like, oh, sanguinea, it's so common. But I love it. It always has a lot of nectar droplets at the top there. And there's some slight striping on the peristome. And it's just a really elegant looking picture. And when they're brand new, it's like bright orange fading to pink and green. And this one's super easy. This one's Nepenthe Sanguinea orange. I got it from California Carnivores many years ago. And the leaves get quite large. So this is my hand here. It gets pretty big. This one's really tolerant of the direct light. You can see that there's a slight red flush on this new leaf, but it just really likes being in just direct south-facing sunlight. Super easy plant. I love it.
I will add that to my list.
Yeah, and it's super compact. See how tight the inner nodes are? It's like the leaves are just right on top of one another. So you can get a large rosette of a plant, and it just stays really small. So I like that.
It may end up vining at some point, but...
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's going to vine soon.
Okay.
See, look at it started, if you look down here, it's really tight. Like the leaves are basically on top of one another. But then over here, the internodes are starting to get wider or longer. So it's going to vine soon. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
Now, this next one is, I think, my favorite Nepenthes. This one is Nepenthes diuriana. This is an old Victorian hybrid that took me a long time to find because it's only propagated through rooted cuttings. And I just love this candy stripe peristome.
Yeah, that's definitely crazy.
Yeah, and it stays this way. It doesn't fade. So it's a really gorgeous, gorgeous plant. And this picture is actually really small because I repotted it. So here's the pot of this plant. I'm not sure what size of pot this is, but you can kind of see with my hand.
It's big.
And I potted it.
What is the substrate?
Oh, sorry?
What is the substrate in the pot?
Oh, good question. Yeah, this is long fibered sphagnum moss, about 50% long fibered sphagnum moss, and then 50% of perlite and cocoa chips. I'm not 100% sure what the ratio is of perlite and cocoa chips. I just kind of throw it in until it feels like light and airy and crunchy. Kind of go by feel. But after repotting, this plant has gotten a lot larger.
Wow.
So, this leaf is as long as my arm. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah.
And it's on both sides. So really, this plant is almost as large as the coffee table right now. And
okay. I have a stupid question. I noticed some of my Nepenthes, usually there is kind of a tree direction on the leaves when it's growing. It goes, the last one I noticed was if the first leaf is facing straight, the second one would be back left and then back right, and then it turns. So when you see from the top, it's almost always a third of the circle all the time. But this one is really left, right, left, right, left, right. So
Yeah.
you see the Sanguinea, Sanguinea, you see that the leaves always turn, but not yours.
Yeah, I don't know what controls that. Some of them just form better rosettes, I think.
Yeah.
At this round thing. And then this one, you're right. It's just like left, right, left, right. It's like a ladder as it climbs
really
up.
Interesting. That's the first time I see that on big plants. I mean.
And I think maybe it does that when it starts to climb, because this one is definitely a climbing stem. You can see because these internodes are really long. And this one does the same thing. We'll get to that one. But it's also right, left, all the way down.
Okay. So maybe that's the vine thing. Okay.
Yeah, and speaking of vining, this one, look at this,
Nice.
getting some nice upper pictures soon. And this is the size of it normally. So this is how large a normal Diuriana picture is.
Do you know how long they last? I heard that this hybrid don't have picture that lasts really long.
Yeah, so this one is one of the ones that really benefited from having these humidity trays. So you see, this is just a big plastic tray, and it's filled with lava rock. And then the lava rock allows the water that's inside to evaporate. And I think that local humidity really boosted pitcher life. This particular pitcher is, I think, 3 or 4 months old.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
but before that, they would die after a month. So
Okay, maybe I will switch for lava rock too.
yeah. And this pitcher wall is super thin. You can see I can just go like this. It's not hard at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's you can tell it's old. Like, look at this crinkly stuff, and this the color has faded a little bit. The peristome still looks nice, but yeah, the humidity trays worked really well for this one. And here, this is an even older one. See, this one is starting to look yucky. I can't remember how old that one is. Oh, and this one has a friend. So there's my...
Oh, wow. A mantis?
This is my African praying mantis. She likes to sit on this plant.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes she licks the nectar off of the pitchers. She especially likes the Sanguinea. So she will literally go over there, drink nectar, and then come back over here. So she's just an awesome little pet to have.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, Diuriana is awesome. If you can get your hands on one, it gets huge. And I love how fuzzy everything is. Like, you can see this kind of fined indumentum, this coppery hair covering it. I think that comes from the Veitchii parent. And then the size is coming from the Rafflesiana that's in it. So let's see. In the back here, this plant I've had for so long, I can't remember. I can look on my blog and see how long I've had it. But this is it Maxima? Yeah, Maxima is the first parent. This is Nepenthes Maxima by Aristolochioides. And this one is just really cute. So we have Diuriana, which is gigantic, right? And then we have this itty bitty Maxima by Aristolochioides. And it's just, I don't know, they're like little egg-shaped pitchers. I've grown this plant everywhere. Like, I used to have some in my classroom. So I'm a high school teacher, high school biology teacher. And this thing thrived in my classroom where it was neglected and it was super cold and really hot also. I really can't control the climate in my classroom. But, it's very hardy. You can see there's a lot of basil shoots. So there's this plant actually produced 5 basil shoots in the past year. So I've been trading them. But yeah, very vigorous, really great little hybrid. These pitchers can get twice this large if you keep it in a terrarium, but does fine on the windowsill. Leaves are nice and short. And this one, again, very tolerant of high light. There's not a lot of reddening on the leaves. Diuriana is actually somewhat sensitive to high light. I used to have it up at the front, but then you can see here on this old leaf, you see this? There's some sun damage there.
Okay.
See those red spots? That means that it was getting too high of light. But then just pushing it back a foot made those spots go away.
Okay.
So geez, I just ran into another one of my plants. Sometimes just moving the pot literally like a foot or two, can make a very large difference in how the plant responds to light. Light degrades really quickly. So, the light intensity back here is like 4 times weaker than the light intensity up here at the front. So if you're having trouble with a plant, sometimes you just need to move it a little bit to make a difference. Let's see. In the back here, sorry, it's like a mess of things in here.
No, but that's a great jungle. Really pleasant.
This is Nepenthes Brexiana, and it's the Hortus botanicus version. So it's a ventricosa lowii. And if I reach down here, it's got kind of
that's
cool
so nice.
Yeah, it's like the classic. This one is awesome.
That's one on my list, but impossible to find for now in Canada.
Oh man, yeah. Hopefully you can find it because it's one of my favorites. And these pictures are really woody. See, I can't. It's hard for me to push on it. It's so tough, and it's got some nice peristome striping.
Yes.
A lot of nectar at the top. These pictures last forever. So this picture in the back, this one, actually came with the plant. And I got this plant like 1 year and 2 months ago.
Okay.
So this picture like only just started browning. But yeah, this one actually stopped picturing when winter started. I'm not sure why. I think it's either because the light is now only 8 hours a day. But there's 3 pictures on here. It's just hard to find them. There's one. Oh, there's some in the back. I have to be really careful or I'm going to fall over while I'm doing this. But yeah, I'm not sure why it stopped picturing. It has a lot of new leaves and it's doing that rosette pattern we talked about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's see. Oh, this little one here, kind of hidden. This is Nepenthes Brexiana Peter D'Amato.
So you have 2 Brexiana?
Yes. It's my
Damn. I'm jealous.
These are my Victorian plants. See, they're all on the tray together. The Diuriana and Brexiana, they're all together, except for Tivier, which is up there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, this one I almost lost. It got root rot, and then it started to die, and all the leaves were like melting away. Let me go closer.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So what did you do?
I cut the roots off and basically took a stem cutting, which is this one. And it was able to root, and now all the leaves look healthy again. Before, like, the leaves were, like, dissolving because of the root rot. So I'm glad I was able to save it. That's why it's cut off, because it was a stem cutting.
Okay. And it's not holding directly on the tray, right? I see a pot.
Yeah, it's really short, so I have to put it on a pot so I can...
Okay. It's for the light, not for the root rot.
Yeah,
right?
for the light.
So do you know why you get root rot?
I think the media it was in was too dense. You can see now I have it in the 50% sphagnum and 50% cocoa chips and perlite. Mm-hmm. Before it was in what the nursery had it potted in. I think it was peat and perlite. And it was too dense, and maybe I watered it too much, and then it got root rot that way. Just the roots were too wet for too long.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm glad I was able to save it. I also think because of that, I'm always going to repot plants, even if they're scent potted, just because, the media is different for everybody. Mm. The conditions are different for everybody. And just for me, having this nice mix with the really airy cocoa chips helps prevent root rot, I think.
Hey guys, I interrupt just 1 minute to ask you a favor. Could you please like this video and consider subscribing, hitting the little bell? That's the best way for you to make sure you will see the next interview. So now let's go back to the second part.
This one is Nepenthes, spectabilis by ventricosa. You can see it's got a nice basal shoot here.
Yeah.
This one used to picture all the time, and you can see it's not anymore. I actually had this one hanging up in that corner up there, and I think the light intensity was too much, because when you look at the leaves, they're super red and they have that spotting again. So I just moved it back down here so that the light isn't as intense, and maybe it'll start to picture again.
Okay. And you don't, you let them hang like that? You don't make them straight with the
Yeah,
bamboo thing?
Costa likes to sprawl. It likes to hang out like that. Other plants like to climb up. Like all the other Nepenthes I have just tend to go up. But for some reason, ventricosa likes to kind of flop out of its pot for me when it's big. So,
I read something on the Canadian forum. I don't remember who was saying that, but the fact that if your plants, the stem is going like less than 30%, it will make the plant shoot basil shoot. Basil shoot. So maybe, I don't know, that's something I want to try. They said just put your pot on an angle and it should shoot something out of it. So maybe that's why you have this big basil, but that's really nice.
yeah, possibly. I definitely think it contributed, right? There's a lot of space here with the mother plant kind of flopped over. I think I'm going to cut off this part because there's not a lot of pictures on it. It was really stressed out. And look, this is so sad. See, look, it got cut off because somebody closed the window on it.
Oh.
A new invention, the guillotine.
Guillotine? Sounds French. I love the French. Did you know that they invented mayonnaise? How bad could it be? It's French.
Guillotine.
Yeah. That's another reason why I moved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to cut this off and then let the basil take over and see if it does better, you know?
Okay.
So.
Nice.
This one I'm super, super excited for. Let's look at the tag. This one is Ventricosa by Cibuensis by Flava.
Okay.
And this was one of my very first EP plants.
Okay.
And look at this picture. I love it. It's got like this really fun picture shape. This is the picture it came with in shipping. I only just got it last month. And it's already got some new pictures coming. So here's some new ones. But I'm really excited. This was a rooted cutting. And it was my first Exotica plants import. So I'm really excited for this one to grow.
And all the tendrils are trying to grab everything.
Yes. It's crazy how they're vining plants, right? They like to just grab and grow. So this one I'm super excited for. I wish I had a picture I grew to show you, but I just have this one. Let's see. This plant, oh my goodness. This one's my favorite. This one is Nepenthes Maxima Dark. I got this one when I first moved here to San Francisco. I know the plant is 6 years old, so 2014, yeah. But look how large the leaves are.
What size was it 6 years ago?
Oh, it was so little. I have a baby picture of it on my blog. It was like this big.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It was like this big, the size of this little basil.
Okay.
And these are actually younger growths. The main plant, the main growth, I killed when I went to the Philippines. My friend forgot to water it the entire time I was in the Philippines for 3 weeks. And then when I came back, it was almost dead. So I had to revive it. And then these are the 2 basil shoots that came out. So these basil shoots are only 3 years old because the original stem died off after that horrible accident.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's big.
Yeah, it's hard to see. This pot is very large. You can see with my hand. And then there's just so many pictures. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ones on this side. They're all hiding. But This is my favorite plant of all time. It's just got really nice wings and color, and the peristome is huge. It never rolls back. So these pictures are from like very early in the year. They're many months old, and they still look perfect. Yeah.
Wow.
I wish they weren't hanging in here. Like here's one back here. Oh, there's another one back there I didn't see. But yeah, this is my absolute favorite plant. It's so big. And here is its first upper picture in a long time.
Nice.
You can see the dimorphism here between the lower and the upper. The upper is a lot more fluted in shape. You can see that it kind of starts all the way back here, and then it makes this big U, and then it comes up, and it's like a trumpet. I love how Maxima has this little spur at the front here, and then this knob here.
Wow, nectar.
Yeah, the nectar spur, I think it is. That's very Maxima. All Maxima hybrids have this little bump on there at the base of the lid. Obviously not this large, but all Maxima hybrids will have that little process. It's called a hump-like process at the base. And then they often have some nectar at the front here too. But so pretty.
A quick question. Do you feed your plant?
Oh, yes. I'm actually right next to the fertilizer.
Okay, Maxi.
Here you go.
I see.
Maxi, just a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon. And then,
How often?
once a week when they're growing.
Nice.
Once a week. I put it straight into the pitchers.
Okay.
And little plants like this one, I would foliar feed. I'd spray the leaves as well. If the pitcher starts to die, then I put Osmocote pellet inside. So for example, if you look back here, oh my goodness. So if you look back here, these pitchers are starting to die. Oh, geez. Hold on. There's everyone is falling over. These pitchers are starting to die, but the bottom is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still the bottom is still alive, and they are still
Processing food.
Yeah, exactly. So I put a bunch of Osmocote pitchers or pellets in here, and then the plant just absorbs it. But I
Nice.
never Osmocote healthy pitchers anymore, like pitchers that are fine like this, because it'll kill them.
I agree.
It'll burn them at the bottom. So I only do pitchers that are starting to die. Oh, here's another nice picture. It's kind of hard to see. There he is. But this plant was hitting the ceiling earlier this year. It was like way up there. The problem when you're growing on a windowsill, though, is you can see the light stops here.
Yeah.
And so at the top, it was starting to get really thin. So that's why I cut it here. So this is actually taller than I am. And you can see there is a new activated node here. There.
So soon he will be again too big.
Yes, exactly.
And you take cutting out of it?
Yes, I have 2 cuttings. They'll be going to new homes soon.
Nice.
But yeah, oops, oh goodness. I love how these things, they grab on and then they form the picture here. So see there. And this is actually really, I can move it a little bit, but it's a really good hold.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, I'll keep going. Sorry. This is going longer than I thought. Sorry. This one is, let's see. This is Nepenthes robcantley by Cebuyanensis by ventricosa. So this one had a really hard time acclimating. Sometimes it takes months for them to acclimate, but it's doing well now. And you can see that this plant is doing well with the highlight. Some slight reddening, but hanging plants get way more light than plants on the table. So hopefully this one does well. I want it to be big. Over here, this one is my most famous one, I think. This is Nepenthes TVA Red Queen. So this one just won Picture of the Month, actually, the Facebook group. So
Nice.
yeah, the color, like the best colors are, of course, when it first pops. But this yellow and red still looks pretty nice. It's sad that the peristome doesn't, like this one doesn't fade, right? This one does get just a little more pink and red after only a couple days, but that's okay. It's still really pretty.
Oh, yes.
And there is the kind of the bump that from the Maxima parent. This is Nepenthes Maxima by Vicii, and it's one of my favorites. It's so hairy. You can see. So the hairier your plant is, I think the better it is with low humidity. And you can see it's just hanging out here. Here's a bigger picture. This one was sitting. So I think when they sit, they get a lot bigger than the ones that hang.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of see the size difference. This one also formed in the winter. Pictures that form in the summer are much larger than ones that form in the winter. And then you can just see this one still looks really, really good. Just a nice large picture here. Yeah, I've had this one since June, and it's doing really well.
Nice.
So.
The color are great.
Yeah, and it's just, I just love this plant.
Yeah.
But easy, it's an easy plant, and you can see it's growing really, really fast. And let's see. So these three are all, let's see. This one is Lowii by Northiana by Maxima. This one. This one is Ventricosa K. And this one is Naga Bongso by Ventricosa Red. All of these are still acclimating. So sometimes these plants take months to acclimate because this windowsill is really, really hot and kind of dry. But you can see now 3 months later, they're starting to form their first pitchers. So
Again, it's lava rock, right?
What? Sorry?
It's smaller, but it's still lava rock.
Yeah. This is just a finer lava rock, yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have humidity trays on this shelf as well. But yeah, sometimes they take many months to acclimate, but eventually they start to make pitchers. So you just have to be patient, I guess, when you're acclimating them to really low humidity. But they're getting there. This one is another one of my favorites. This one is talongensis by Maxima. And there's like 8 pictures on it too. You can see they look really cute. This one's easier to see. So this is talongensis by Maxima. And there are 3 growth points on this plant. This one I also used to grow in my classroom. So it's super, super hardy. And I'm going to be taking this basil shoot off soon. So I like having 2 growth points. Here again, you can see again that it's doing the same thing this one did, right? It's like going off at the side.
Uh-huh.
And then that's where the basil shoot is coming out. So I think that definitely does encourage basil shoots to have the main stem on the side like that. But I like to have like 2 growth points on a plant. Same thing here. There's 2 major growth points. It just looks nicer to me. There's more pictures. Everyone wants more pictures. So.
Yes.
This plant, this is one of the ones that had damage. See, I misted it when it was really sunny, and then it burned the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, and this one used to be right up against the window, but after I moved it, it had a leaf jump. So it actually prefers to have less light than this one does. So I don't know. Sometimes you just have to move your plants around. Like this one loves being right up next to the window. And then this one hated it. It just absolutely hated it. And it much prefers being back here. This one is Lady Luck or Bloody Mary. So it's the Ventricosa by Ampullaria. Yeah, and I think that's, oh, wait, here's a new one. I just got this one, Nepenthes Gaia. So
yeah.
This is a good example, actually. So when I get new plants, I bag them to increase humidity. And then I slowly start to open the bag. So this is like a week after I got it, and it's still in the bag, but the bag is open. So I'm just like slowly acclimating it to the really low humidity on the windowsill. So it's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's it for Nepenthes here. There's other plants, but that's all the Nepenthes.
Well, that's already really, really great. A lot of plants, a lot of big plants. That's really nice to see.
Yeah, I just love this one. Let's look at this one. So, I think if you're patient, then you get nice big plants and they start to climb everywhere and it looks really cool.
Yes. And for the last part of this video, if you were to give an advice to somebody that want to start growing Nepenthes on a windowsill, what would it be?
Just be patient. Again, these guys have been acclimating for like 3 months and they still haven't pictured, but they're starting to picture. And just be really patient with them. It takes them sometimes 6 months to really start to grow like this one. And then I would also highly recommend these big humidity trays. I think they make a really big difference in keeping the pitchers around for longer. So, be patient and get humidity trays.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this was super fun. I haven't really gotten to talk about Nepenthes a lot lately. So
that's the main idea. And I would love to see how people from Germany or Japan would be great, because it's really warm and humid, but they still have a winter. So it would be interesting to see that. But I hope more people will be part of it. And hopefully, that's going to be great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you and have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. It was a pleasure to interview her and to see all these great plants, healthy old plants. And again, if you want to show us your Nepenthes or you grow your plants on your windowsill, please contact me and I will be more than happy to set this kind of interview. Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, who knows? So please contact me and we will set this up. And until next time, happy growing!